Chosen one. Your gift has been waiting longer than you have. Before the searching began, before the wondering, before the years of reaching toward something you could sense but never quite hold, it was already there, planted inside you. Before your first breath, by a God who does not miss in what he places. Here is what I need you to understand. The most powerful thing about you is not something you have to find. It is something you have been dismissing. The way you perceive what others walk past. The understanding that arrives in you without study. The knowing that appears before you have a reason for it. You have called it coincidence. You have called it overthinking. You have called it nothing. But that nothing is the gift. God planted it before the world had a chance to name you. Before the systems around you decided what you were allowed to become. This message was not constructed for a crowd. It was sent to the one, the specific, particular person who has been carrying something the room around them cannot fully see, cannot fully name, and has probably never fully honored. Someone who has had glimpses, real undeniable glimpses of what they were made for, and then lived the strange grief of returning to ordinary life the morning after. If that is you, you did not arrive here by chance. There is a sovereign awareness that arranged for this message to reach you today. It knows what you have been asking in the quiet, and it knows precisely what you need to hear. Not 6 months ago, not next year today. Before we go any further, I want you to do one thing. Leave a comment right now and type the word here. Not as a gesture to the screen, as a signal to heaven that you are present, that you are done waiting to be found, and you are ready to be received. Type here. Let that word be the first declaration of this new season. Now I want to begin at a specific place, not the beginning of your life as the world marked it. I want to go back before any of it. Back to before your name was spoken over you, before your first breath, before the world had a chance to define you. In that space, God was already working, not preparing the world for you. He was working on you, specifically, deliberately, with full knowledge of what this season would require. The word used in the ancient Hebrew text is nata. He planted, not scattered, not hoped for. He planted the way a gardener who knows the soil, and knows the season, and knows exactly what kind of tree this particular seed will become. He drove it into the structure of who you were going to be before the world had any say in it. Gift is not talent, talent is earned. It responds to repetition and practice over time, real and valuable. But gift was not built by you. Gift operates through you because of what was placed in you before you did anything at all. There are moments when something moves through you in a conversation, in a prayer, in a quiet afternoon. And afterward you think, where did that come from? That is not talent. That is the planted gift making itself known. Gift is not potential either. Potential points toward a future that is not yet real. But the nata is already fully present, already complete, already structural in who you are. The gift is not waiting to be developed, it is waiting to be inhabited. If this is landing somewhere real in you, subscribe to this channel right now. There are more words being prepared for the next season, and they are for the person you are becoming as a result of what we are covering here. Stay connected so those words can find you when you need them most. Now let me tell you about the frost. The gift was planted before birth, complete, immovable. But something happened to the conditions. The soil the gift needed to rise through was covered. The educational system was built to produce capable participants in an existing social structure. The gifts that operate through intuition rather than instruction, through presence rather than performance, do not receive the conditions they need to develop. The child carrying them learns through years of subtle feedback that the thing making them different is a liability rather than an asset. The relational environment works the same way. A receiver tuned to one frequency cannot pick up a broadcast on a different frequency, no matter how strong the signal is. The inability of the people around you to receive what you were offering became a message to you about whether what you carried was real. Then the cultural pressure, the unexplained knowing, the perception of truth before the evidence arrives. A culture that measures worth in output and visibility has nothing to offer these gifts but silence. But the frost does not kill the seed. What the frost can only do is delay the surface expression. The seed, buried below the frost line, remains fully intact through the winter, and when the conditions change, it does not tentatively begin to recover. It rises, as the full expression of what was planted before the frost ever arrived. If the image of this seed, alive beneath the frost, intact through every season of silence, is landing in you right now, type the word carry in the comments. Let that word stand for your acknowledgement that you have been faithful, that the waiting has not broken you, that the seed is still intact. Type carry right now. I want to tell you about Mary. She was told she was carrying something the world had never seen. Something so large that the angel had to say almost immediately after naming it, "Do not be afraid." And then she carried it for 9 months, invisible. Only the inner knowing of what had been placed there, and the slow, ordinary passage of days in which nothing above the surface gave the world any reason to believe what was growing on the inside. She waited. She did not demand early evidence. She simply carried it. Now, let me name 5 things as pairs. What felt like confusion was misdirected genius. What felt like sensitivity was heightened perception. What felt like aloneness was preparation for solitude. The gift carving out the space it needed to grow roots no one could see. What felt like delay was root development. The length of the roots determines the stability of what eventually stands in the open. What felt like failure was false identity stripping. The world's version of you was being removed, not to destroy you, to clear the space for the version that was actually planted. 3 false identities placed over the planted gift, the one who does not belong. The pioneer belongs to the territory they are walking toward, not the territory they are passing through. The sense of not quite fitting is the internal compass of someone designed to go first. The one who is too much. You were built precisely for work that most people simply do not have the equipment to do. The one who almost made it. The near arrivals were not failures of completion. They were the gift operating correctly, recognizing that what was almost arrived at was not the right container, and redirecting you. A gift that cannot settle into the wrong container is not a gift that is broken. It is a gift that knows what it was built for. Before we go further, type the number 444 in the comments right now. Let it stand for the foundation that has been laid underneath you in every season that looked like delay. The roots that grew when no one was watching. The preparation that happened in the dark. Type 444, and let it be your acknowledgement that nothing in your wilderness was wasted. The wilderness is necessary, not as punishment, as preparation. The first thing it produces is purification. The gift flows most freely through a person who is no longer performing for approval. The wilderness strips that performance weight. What remains is the gift in its most honest form. The second is character formation, settled authority, compassionate discernment, the ability to help people without being consumed by them, resistance to premature exposure, and the ability to carry weight without collapsing. These qualities cannot be developed in comfort. They are forged in the wilderness. The third is positioning. The path from where you were when the wilderness began to where you need to be when it ends is not a path you could have designed intentionally. Wandering goes in circles. Wilderness walking goes somewhere. It just does not look like it from inside the process. Consider Joseph in the prison. He had done something right. The consequence of that right choice was years in a place he should not have been. 2 years of ordinary days in an extraordinary situation. And then the dream of Pharaoh arrived. At the exact moment the kingdom had a problem that the planted gift in Joseph was uniquely qualified to address. He was ready because the wilderness had done the work. Your wilderness has been doing the same thing. I want to pause here because what I am about to say comes from my heart. This message does not reach people by accident. It reaches them because someone chooses to be part of how it travels further. There are people right now who are one message away from the clarity you are receiving in this moment. If this word has done something in you already, if the weight of what you are hearing about who you are is beginning to settle into your bones, I want to invite you to be part of how this mission continues. The link is in the description below and in the pinned comment. You can also scan the code on your screen. Luke chapter 6, verse 38 says, "Give and it will be given to you. A good measure, pressed down, shaken together and running over, will be poured into your lap. Every seed you plant into this mission is a seed into your own harvest." Check that link whenever you feel led. Now, let us keep going. Now I want to give you 5 names for what was planted in you as mirrors to look into. Notice which one produces a recognition that does not require argument, that simply lands: the light bearer. When they walk into a room, something shifts before they have said a word. People who were guarded begin to open. This is not charisma. This is something operating through the quality of their presence alone. They are simply being there. And the world around them shifts. The seer. The seer has known things before the evidence arrived, has perceived truth through a channel that bypasses ordinary logical analysis, has felt the weight of something coming before the visible indicators pointed in that direction. The knowing that arrived without explanation was always accurate. The years of learning to distrust it were the frost covering the ground. The voice. The person through whom words arrive that are not entirely their own, whose presence in a conversation produces articulations of truth that others had been reaching for but could not find. The voice often dismisses what moves through them because it feels like ordinary talking, but when it is operating without performance weight, it is one of the most transformative gifts operating in the world today. The pioneer always slightly ahead, not in the sense of superiority, in the sense of trajectory. The sense of always being slightly past the place where everyone else is comfortable stopping is the navigational signature of someone designed to go first, so that others can follow into what they found. The builder sees structures that do not yet exist, relational ones, organizational ones, looks at a set of circumstances and perceives what could be created there, then works quietly and persistently over the long arc to bring it into being. What you build outlasts the season in which you built it. One of those 5 landed differently in you than the others. You know which one? Type it in the comments right now. Just the name. The moment you name what was planted, you stop holding it at a distance and you begin receiving it as yours. Type the name right now. Now I want to share the mega truth. The revelation everything we have walked through has been building toward. The gift God planted in you before birth is not primarily an ability. It is a presence. What He placed in you is not first and foremost a skill set that operates through doing. It is something more fundamental. It is the quality of who you are in a room, in a conversation, in a moment that needed exactly the specific weight that only you were built to carry. An ability operates through action. You activate it, you apply it. When it is at rest, it is dormant. But presence does not require action to be real. Presence operates through the fact of your being there. The light bearer does not illuminate by trying to illuminate. The seer does not perceive by activating a perception process. The voice does not move people by choosing carefully crafted words. These gifts operate because of what the person carrying them simply is. Performance can be managed. If what you carry is an ability, the systems around you can direct it, measure it, decide whether it meets their requirements. But presence cannot be managed. When a person carrying a genuine gift of presence walks into a room, the room changes regardless of whether anyone gave them permission to change it. The atmosphere shifts. None of this required a decision or a performance of any kind. It simply happened because the person was there. That is precisely why the world does not know what to do with what you carry. Not because your gift is too small for the world, because your gift is too alive to be managed by it. When the shell of the seed finally breaks, from the outside it looks like the seed is being destroyed. In the moment of the breaking, it looks like ending rather than beginning. But the tree knows. The breaking of the shell is not destruction, it is release. Chosen one. If something in your life has felt like it is breaking right now, hold this image. You are not being destroyed, you are becoming. If the distinction between gift as ability and gift as presence landed somewhere in you that your ordinary arguments about yourself could not immediately reach, type I am in the comments right now. Not I will be, not I hope to become. I am present tense. The gift planted in you before birth is not a future state you are working toward. It is who you already are. Type I am. Now there is something I need to give you permission. You are allowed to live from this gift openly. You are allowed to let it be seen before you feel entirely ready. You are allowed to outgrow containers never designed to hold what was planted in you. You are allowed to stop explaining yourself to people who were never equipped to understand what you carry. You are allowed to take up the full space the gift actually requires. Now, as you are, with the roots that have already grown, you do not owe anyone an apology for becoming who you were always intended to be. If those permissions landed somewhere in you that has been waiting for them, type I receive in the comments right now. Not as a transaction, as a declaration that you are accepting the permission rather than holding it at a distance. Type I receive. Now I want to give you something to carry into the ordinary days. The life that changes is not the one on the stage. It is the Tuesday morning, the conversation you did not schedule. 4 simple daily moves. The morning declaration before the day's noise enters. Take one of the 5 archetypes you recognized in yourself and name it. Settle it over you the way you would settle a garment over your shoulders. 30 seconds, one name. Every morning, 7 minutes of deliberate presence before output begins. Before you start serving the demands of the day. The daily choice to create the conditions for the gift to operate before you ask it to perform. The evening inventory. Find one moment when the gift was present today. Not when you performed well, the moment when something arrived from below the level of ordinary thought. Find that moment, recognize it. The gift showed up today. It is alive. The release. At the end of the day, let your breath slow. On the exhale, release what the gift held today, so tomorrow morning it can be received fresh. Before we enter the closing, I want to pause with you here. We are trusting God for the final $5,000 to complete this mission. And I want to invite you to be part of how He answers that prayer. Not because you have to, but because your yes, given before you see the full outcome, is one of the most powerful acts of faith available to you. Visit the link in the description below, or scan the code on your screen. What you release in faith is never lost. It is planted. And in due season, what you sowed into this mission will rise as a harvest in your own life, because heaven never forgets a gift given from the heart. Check that link whenever you feel moved. Now let us continue. The time for the closing has arrived. Before we enter into it, take one more breath, a real one. Let whatever you have been holding since this message began, the recognition, the grief, the relief, the weight that was named, the permissions that landed, let all of it be here with you as we enter in your mind. In the interior space of who you are, let something rise to standing, somewhere inside, in that part of you that exists before you start managing how you appear. Let something rise to its full height. Imagine yourself standing at a threshold, a doorway between the season of the underground and the season of the above ground. Everything you have walked through behind you, real honored. But behind you, and in front of you, through the threshold, is what the seed was always going to become. The full version of you designed before birth, carrying the gift at the level of expression it was designed for, inhabiting rather than performing, present rather than managed. This is a commissioning. You are orienting yourself toward what was already true before you arrived. Before I speak over your life, I want to acknowledge something. You walked through a lot to get here, not just through this message, through the years of carrying something the world could not fully name, the years of showing up faithfully to a calling not yet fully visible, and you stayed. That matters. For the mornings you showed up when no one was watching, for the prayers you offered in seasons where the answer was not visible. That faithfulness was not invisible. The weight you have been carrying was not the absence of the gift. It was the evidence of the depth of what was planted. I release the ceiling that the systems placed over you, the invisible height limit that said the gift was only welcome up to a certain level of expression. I release it now. I release the false identity of the ordinary, the narrative that said you were less than what you sensed you were, the habit of presenting the compressed version as if it were the real one. I release it now. I release the wound of the unrecognized gift, the accumulated pain of years of carrying something real that was not received as real. I release it now. I release the weight of comparison, the years of measuring your expression against the visibility of others, of using someone else's season as evidence that your season was somehow wrong. I release it now. I release the unworthiness, the quiet, patient voice that asked, "What if you had this wrong?" That voice was not wisdom. It was the residue of formation. I release it now. I release the guilt of outgrowing, the grief of moving beyond the versions of your relationships and identities that could not hold what was developing in you. You do not owe anyone the static version of who you were at the expense of the planted version of who you are. I release it now. I release the fear of activation, the fear of what happens when the gift is no longer underground, of being seen operating at the level the gift was designed for. The fear was not evidence of unworthiness. It was evidence that you understood the weight of what was planted, and you are ready for the weight. I release it now. I release every version of the story in which you were less than what was planted in you before birth. Every narrative that made the delay a verdict. Every conclusion that made the wilderness the destination rather than the preparation. I release it now. Now I want to call forth. I speak to the full version of you, the one standing at the threshold, the one who has already been commissioned by the planting, the one who exists in the architecture of who you were before the world had a chance to compress you. I call forth the light bearer, and I activate the gift that shifts atmospheres without effort, that illuminates without announcement. I call forth the seer, and I activate the knowing that arrives without steps, the perception that reaches truth before the evidence assembles itself into something the logical mind can process. I call forth the voice, and I activate the words that are not entirely yours, the sentences that land in places ordinary speech cannot reach, the gift that makes people feel, after a conversation with you, that something was said that they have been waiting their whole lives to hear. I call forth the pioneer, and I activate the navigational gift that orients toward territory not yet entered. That creates the path by walking it. I call forth the builder, and I activate the structural vision that sees what could be created where others see only what currently exists. That produces what outlasts the season in which it was built. And I hear the Father saying this: "Rise, what I placed in you is ready. Not the day you feel perfectly prepared. Not when the doubt has fully quieted. Right now, in the season you are currently in, with the roots that have already grown, with the depth that has already been formed. What I planted in you was never meant to stay hidden. The frost was seasonal, the seed was never seasonal. And what I placed in you before you arrived, the presence, the gift, the specific weight and capacity that exists in you and nowhere else, was placed there for seasons like this one, when the world needs the full measure of what I deposited, when the people waiting for what you carry cannot wait any longer. Rise, the planting is complete. The time for the above ground is now. I guard what has just been spoken over your life. I cover the rising from the reflex to shrink. I guard what is being built from premature exposure. I guard you from the familiar movement toward retreat, when the breakthrough is close. What has been spoken over your life is covered. What was planted in you is protected. You are commissioned. You are equipped. You are sent. The gift is not coming. The gift is here. You are not becoming the tree. You are the tree. And the tree does not apologize for the shade it casts. Do not say amen yet. Stay in this frequency for a moment. Let what was just spoken settle, not the words, the weight of what the words were carrying. When it moves from something you heard into something you carry, type amen in the comments. As the agreement of your spirit with what was declared, type amen. You are not alone in what just happened here. Right now, chosen ones all across the world are standing at this same threshold, the same roots, the same formation, the same gift pressing against the surface. This is not an individual journey. This is a collective emergence. And the person in your life who has been unusually quiet lately, the one pulling back without explaining why, the one carrying something heavy without the words for what it is. They may be standing at this same threshold without anyone to show them what it actually is. If a face just came to mind, that is not an accident. That is the gift of knowing already. Share this message with them, because the planted thing in you just recognized the planted thing in them. Your share could be the confirmation they have been waiting for. Send it to them. Just send it. Your share is a gift from one chosen one to another. And if what was spoken over you tonight is settling into a real place rather than passing through, let your like be your amen, not for the numbers. As the agreement of your spirit with what was declared over your life today, press it now. Let it be the wordless confirmation that something was received. And if this message has done something real in you, subscribe to this channel right now. More words are being prepared, more seasons being addressed, more chosen ones who need what you just received. Stay close. Subscribe now. You are no longer a seed wondering what you will become. You are the tree, and what was planted before birth. Everything that survived the frost and grew the roots, and waited for the conditions to change, is not something you are still searching for. It is what you are already made of. Go live from it. The world has been waiting, and now, chosen one, so have you. Amen.